When I found out I was going to be a parent, I immediately felt a lot of anxiety and worry. So I went on to BetterHelp to try to look for a therapist to help me with that.
My relationship with my family and with my boyfriend and with myself were suffering. I really needed help.
I was ruminating a lot. Really getting those thoughts out to a therapist and getting feedback was just life-changing.
Discover what BetterHelp Online Therapy can do for you. Visit BetterHelp.com today.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board. Thanks for watching, as always, on YouTube TV. Now you can put us up in the multi-view, which is great. For those of you with the sports package, obviously, you know all about that. If you don't, I would highly advise that you check it out. It's a great option to have. Thanks for listening on Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. I think we had our wires crossed with Matt Vasgersian today. So in this hour, we will get into tonight's playoff action on the betting board. Lou Finocchiaro on a really good card in the UFC. And, you know, some of these fun markets to look at, Pauly, for the offseason. And I'll get into the Jaylen Brown stuff because you can bet on his next team. Now, he had to try to dial that back, by the way, yesterday, and he said that I want to be in Boston for the rest of my life, but you can bet on this.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you about those odds in a minute. The other thing is, I happen to be on X today looking at a bunch of stuff for the show, and primarily the reason I'm on X is because that's where breaking news usually happens the most when it comes to our world. And the TMZ post got retweeted into my timeline, and I saw it like in real time. So like the second that it hit, it came on there. This now has like 6 million views to it. It's been retweeted more than 5,200 times. And remember, we talked about this when the story first broke. There were odds up on Mike Vrabel. Like, could he be in trouble? Might he be out as the Patriots coach for next year? There's a video of when Rossini she appears to be very pregnant, on a dock, lakeside.
Got a little pregnant?
Yeah, in Tennessee, and she's with Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
People can't get, this thing was retweeted more than, I think I went back and looked like a half an hour later, it had more than 3,000. People can't get enough of this. And so the number.
A guy we know, Tony Farmer, who's the Survivor guy, and so popular on that. And I go on his show, you've been on it too, on Saturday nights. He's breaking this stuff down, and it's get like 900,000 views. And it's transcended sports. Once TMZ's following you around at the airport, it's up for grabs now.
And they're paying for videos of this stuff from 5 years ago?
So I don't know. It's like Young and the Restless here. Is he the father? I mean, you named the kid after the guy you're cheating your husband on with them.
By the way, that came out today, evidently. She named it for what it's worth, she named the baby after her brother.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that was like another TMZ thing. Again, I hate to even go down the soap opera path, but
if he's going to tell his team, don't be a distraction, and then everyone's being asked about this all the time, and she still hasn't told her story, and that's going to come out, I'm just saying there's a chance. But number one is how people can't get enough of this, and on Kelce, over almost $1 million being traded on will he be out before December, 32%. Who coaches the Patriots week one? He's 64%. McDaniels is 29%.
Right.
That market is over $400,000.
So what would have to happen for Mike Vrabel not to be coaching the New England Patriots by week one? Because let's be honest here.
He would resign.
Is that what it would be? But why would he resign, though?
Ryan Sandberg did retire to, quote, save his marriage once. Maybe it just could be so much that comes out, and it's just, maybe it's a agreement between him and Kraft. I don't know.
But again, Kraft, with the whole history with him, does he feel like the kind of owner that would actually put the kibosh down and say, hey, pal, we can't have this, not on my watch? Kraft is probably not the owner to make that happen.
It could be Vrabel's decision, too.
Okay.
You know, but stuff comes out every day.
I know.
It's nuts. It's a crazy story.
Oh, rest assured.
It won't stop.
More stuff will come out by the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, everything. Here they are. They're at a casino in Tennessee. Here's what she said on a podcast about Vrabel. Here's what she tweeted on 2021. Here they are getting cozy at a bar in New York. And she still hasn't told her side of the story, though, too.
No, and
that's the other thing. But still, there are plenty of people that don't think he'll be the coach week 1. Agree or disagree. But it's at least a discussion, and it's up. And if you don't think there's any chance in hell, you can go better right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. Here's what I would like to have happen. I hope that more stories come out like this or more video surfaces and the number is driven down to where you can get like around even money or maybe even a little bit better than that. Maybe he's a dog to come back and coach the Patriots for next year. Then I would be intrigued by that. I don't want to lay a price at this point, but I would take some plus money that he's going to be coaching next year. 1 year in for New England, the guy is obviously a damn good coach. And after they had to go from Belichick and then Mayo eventually, and that lasted for 1 year, they're like, yeah, this sucks. We got to get back the Patriots way, right? So they found their guy in Vrabel, takes him to the Super Bowl in year 1. I just don't know if that.
You'd have to lose the locker room.
And
that's the only thing that's in play, and that could happen.
They've already had players come out, like Christian Gonzalez. I saw this. He was with, I think, 3 other teammates on a radio show or a pod, whatever. And he's like, no, that's my coach, man. Love the guy.
That's not everyone.
That's not everyone for sure. It is not. You never know how many different factions there might be inside of a locker room.
Yeah. But he did lie from the get-go, and they didn't have their. Once they stuck to that same story originally, that there were friends there and other people involved, which wasn't the case. Then he backed off that, and now the guy's going to what was therapy, whatever, and missed the 3rd day of the draft.
1 day, so he was all completely fixed. I believe I saw Prediction Markets post which show will Rossini spill the tea on.
Okay.
And you could bet on that, like which show would actually land her, and then she would open up. Does she have to do that to tell her side of the story?
Someone would pay her very well, yes.
Yeah, I think if
yeah,
open up the coffers a little bit there.
Mm-hmm. Also, Aaron Rodgers is going to be returning to the Steelers, so our long national nightmare's over with that. They'll sign a deal this weekend.
He was the way that was listed at an offshore book or Prediction Markets was any other quarterback, because they did not name Rodgers by name, and they listed Howard, they listed Aller, and they listed somebody else. And Rodgers was any other quarterback, and was minus 670 to be the week 1 starter there for Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
This is good. And also, this is, it's been a tough go in Boston. Buffalo beats Boston. You lose 6 straight home playoff games. Celtics go out in the first round. The Vrabel story. Red Sox fire Cora. Not a good time. But there are a lot of people pissed off at what Jaylen Brown said after they lost. To me, it's sounding like he's saying, I want my own team.
Kind of.
It's convenient that you say, this is my favorite season I've ever had. The most fun I've had in a basketball season.
My favorite season ever.
Right after you get knocked out in the first round in a major disappointment and you blow a 3-1 series lead.
Sure. And you played pretty much the entire year without Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can dial. He tried to do it yesterday again to dial it back. I don't know if you can dial those back.
Between that and what he said about Embiid with the flopping, it just seems like you sour grapes and excuses after you got knocked out and it doesn't look good. And you couldn't get calls and blaming the officials. But that to me is how I would take it. And we'll see what happens in the offseason now, which you said it day 1. He's a hell of a bite. You couldn't believe the contract they gave that guy. But he was excellent this year, and then they just fell apart in the playoffs again. And certainly Missoula had a big hand in that too, with that bizarre Game 7 lineup. But it's already starting now. It's just nonstop. Giannis for Brown. Straight up, let's do it.
Well, Bucks for his next team, Jaylen Brown, that is 6-1. They're the 3rd team on the board. They're behind the Pelicans at 4-1 and the Hawks at 2-1.
Yes, I like that. That's been rumored out there.
The Hawks?
Atlanta, yes, he's from there.
And they definitely have the pieces to make that work.
They would.
And the picks, by the way, to make that work. And I think that would be very attractive for a return piece there for Boston to make that happen. The other one, other than Giannis, would be a potential Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant, and I don't know what else would be involved.
I've heard Houston, yeah.
Yeah, clearly if you're the Rockets, you accept that deal in a heartbeat. I don't know if Boston would want to do that. Would you want to? I mean, you could get more than Kevin Durant for Jaylen Brown at this point of his career. Could you not?
Yeah.
I mean, like Houston, to me, if I'm Brad Stevens and company, they would really have to sweeten the pot and throw in something other than KD.
He's an interesting fellow.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You make a ton of money. You've had an unbelievable career. Why do you care what Dwight in Wyoming thinks about you with your burner accounts? And I could not believe the story on ESPN by Tim McMahon that when they thought it was Durant with the burner account and criticizing teammates, guys were like, "Yeah, okay, no big deal." Like the young guys were like, "Well, we don't pay attention to social media and some of that stuff." It's like, what? That's a teammate ripping you.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're okay with it? But then also it's game 3 of the playoffs and you're not on the bench and you're getting work done and getting therapy in the back room.
Sure.
How bad that looks.
And he's almost smirking when they lost Game 6 to the Lakers.
He's smiling, giving LeBron a hug.
Yeah, he is.
So he is plus 250 in some spots to leave and go to another team.
Yeah. Well, the Pistons are 3-1.
No way.
Okay. The Heat are 4-1. That's a move that Riley would do that.
And Riley's going to go in for Giannis, yes, because they're the one team that made an offer at the deadline.
I bet you Pat Riley goes for Durant and Giannis. I bet you he tries to land both guys this summer. The Wizards are 5-1. KD might as well retire. And Atlanta's 8-1. I'll tell you this. Does Denver do anything for you? They're 9-1 to get him. Again, I don't know how that would work with Denver and because they don't have a lot. They have talking about no pieces to work with. My God.
Well, Kroenke doesn't spend any money.
I know.
You're asking to cut payroll every year and not work help out Joker. But they said everything's on the table outside of Joker. So I know they have to trade Cam Johnson. That's something that's going to happen too.
Well,
and I've been told Watson's going to the Lakers because he's a clutch guy. So that'd be another blow.
Yeah. I'll tell you, the Hawks really screwed this up a couple years ago when they took that Rishi kid, number 1 overall.
Yes, they did.
Because he's absolutely worthless. You can't dangle him for anything. And I'm saying that as a team that's 2-1 to be Jaylen Brown's next team, they have other pieces, but imagine had they taken that draft. I love Reed Shepherd. He was not great against the Lakers. I can't lie. Obviously, he did not play well. But also, Castle went 4th overall, and they had to reach for Rishi. I don't know if that kid's ever going to pan out in the NBA. Mm-hmm. He feels to me like he's just one gigantic bust. Up next, we're going to go over playoff action on the betting board for tonight, and I'll give you an angle that is 19-5 straight up, 17-7 ATS over the last 24 games in this situation. Next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, a lot of moving parts to the program today. I promise I'm going to get to an angle that's 19-5 straight up, 17-7 ATS coming up this hour. Right now, Matt Vasgersian joins the program as we go out to the Progressive Guest Line to talk a little Major League Baseball. Hey, Matt, thanks for the time as always. How are you?
Yeah, guys, good. Limited schedule in the Grande Ligas today. A lot of day games. Cubs are hot. They just finished off the Reds again. Man, that's a freight train right now. But some interesting games tonight too. Okay,
before we get into what you have your eyes on for the games tonight, did any name jump off the page to you looking at this suddenly a wide open race in the American League Cy Young market with Skubal now on the mend for a couple of months?
Yeah, I mean, no Skubal, no Crochet in those markets now. I think the best pitcher in the American League, the best starting pitcher is Max Fried. And maybe it's because I've watched more of his starts this year than I probably had to start the last couple of years. He's the best in the business right now in the American League. By the way, outside of the Rays and the Yankees, the American League kind of stinks. Max Fried is probably too short a shot right now. I know that Cam Schlittler has risen to the top of that pack, but it's a guy that's never thrown more than, I think, 130 innings in a professional season. And he's on pace to shatter that. They're at some point either going to have to work on that load management, to borrow the NBA term, or there's going to be a regression to the mean. So a young guy that has not been in this kind of race before I don't know that I'd back somebody with that kind of inexperience in a Cy Young future, and certainly not as a favorite.
Yeah, at this point, probably too late in the game. How about Brian Wu? He was roughed up in his previous 2 starts before yesterday, before he really cranked it up and was awesome, and he struck out 9.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think anybody in that kind of middle of the pack on opening day in that category, and you could have probably got really long odds on some of those guys on opening day, is drawing live here. And why not Wu? Strikeout numbers are great. He's pitching for a good team with a good bullpen in a ballpark with park factors that are historically good for pitchers. So that, that shouldn't change throughout the course of the summer, unlike somebody pitching in the AL East. Yeah, Wu that'd be a great dart to throw for some of your pizza money.
The Tigers continue to lose games and Skubal's out 2 months. Do you make a move then if they fall out of the race?
I don't know that anybody in that division is gonna make it so uncomfortable for them that they have to make a bad trade. I still think that the Royals haven't played their best baseball. When you've got a Cleveland team in first place at exactly 500, are you that scared if you're a Tiger fan, a game off the pace? Without Skubal, it is a different animal, and if they're without him for a long time, then maybe that is concerning. Framber Valdez becomes your ace, and we know what he does when he gets pissed off about something. He just drills guys, including his own catcher. But they're going to score a lot of runs, man. McGonigal's for real. AL Rookie of the Year, NL Rookie of the Year is fascinating. There's so many names in that market right now. It's changing all the time. So these futures things, I haven't seen enough yet to feel strongly about one over the other.
Okay.
I brought up Imanaga on the show earlier for NL Cy Young. He was awesome again today, 10 Ks over 6 innings. ERA now down to 2.28. But you told me something very intriguing during the break. Tell the audience what you said.
Yeah, he has some historically bad second half splits. He has not held up well after the All-Star break. And I don't know if it's a wear and tear thing, if it's the conditions playing differently at Wrigley Field, if it's the travel in Major League Baseball, but his second half numbers for his career are not very good. They were really exaggerated last year. In fact, I'll give it to you, the game level first half, second half splits for him. I pulled it up here, now it vanished, but trust me, they're bad. He's bad in the second half.
Okay, as for tonight, only 4 games yet to be played, one of which would be Baltimore taking on Miami. Max Meyer was great in his last start. What caught your attention in this game, Matt?
Well, it's Max Meyer. His sinker or sweeper slider combination is what makes his superpower good. And opponents are 11 for 72 against it, 1 homer allowed, 31 strikeouts. And I ran a little model on the Orioles lineup tonight and their strikeout rates versus Max Meyer's put-away combination. And Meyer throws a lot of pitches, but what he uses at the end of counts to strike people out or try to retire a batter with 2 strikes is sweeper, slider, changeup, and then not so much, but he does throw 4-seam. So in that Baltimore lineup tonight, there's only one player that's got a strikeout rate of under 23% against that combination, and it's Taylor Ward. You got guys like Colton Cowser, Jeremiah Jackson with strikeout rates of 29, 31% against that combination. I don't know about a strikeout prop for Max Meyer. I don't know what it is, but I do like him to have success against the Baltimore lineup tonight.
All right. And why do you like Jackson Merrill tonight for the Padres with his props?
That might be the one player prop on the board tonight that's the most intriguing for me. Matthew Liberatore against left-handed batters has given up a batting average of 500 with a slug of 900 on his 4-seamer. On his sinker, a 375 batting average, 625 slug. Jackson Merrill against that combination against the lefty hits 315 with a 519 slug. And he's leading off now, which is really, I thought that was the greatest thing that the Padres could have done. Lead him off. He's 4 for 9 since moving into the leadoff spot. Rakes right-handed pitching in general, but with Matthew Liberatore, for whatever reason, he's had a hard time putting away lefties. I think that Merrill's live tonight.
2 total bases is plus money. It's a good
look. that's interesting. He's 3 for 6 against him in his career. They've all been singles, and it's 1 for 2, 1 for 2, 1 for 2. So he's never had a multiple hit game against him. The other guy that's interesting, you can make the same case for, is Yandy Diaz, who's just red hot right now. And Jake Bennett making his second ever major league start, rookie lefty. Yandy's always raked at Fenway. That's another player prop that kind of stands out. That's chalky, but I mean, Yandy Diaz over a base and a half every day is something you could almost auto play right now.
Very good. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network, and he is on the progressive guest line. The Max Meyer K prop, by the way, is 5.5. It's juiced around 40 cents to the over on that one. And what do you think of Andrew Painter tonight going for Philadelphia against Oakland? Phillies have been red hot here. His K prop, for example, is 4.5. You can find it $1.05 or so, Matt, to the over.
Ooh, 4.5 is interesting. I feel like the number's a little high on Meyer, but 4.5 for Painter's interesting because his big strikeout games, and we're talking about a short sample size here, I get it, but his big strikeout games have come at home. His strikeout per 9, his rate per 9 at home is 11.9, under 6 away from his home ballpark. And there are a couple guys in that lineup for the A's tonight. Lawrence Butler, Geloff's in there tonight. I think he's batting 8th. Kurtz has been striking out a ton. 4.5 is pretty interesting there. I think, not all their big strikeout guys are in there. I'm looking at their lineup right now, but those 3 guys punch out a lot. So at home, 5 seems real makeable for Andrew Painter tonight.
Yeah. By the way, we talked a little Rays and Yankees here in that division. Do you think this success by Tampa is sustainable? Not to the tune of like winning 100-plus games, but being a threat maybe in the American League this year?
They're always a threat, and they're always doing it with different guys because it seems like every year their ace is scratched. Their ace is down. And they got bad news on Pepio. He's going to have surgery next week on his hip, and he's done for the year. That's really a bad thing. So what they're doing tonight, and it's Pepio's turn, I guess, technically, is with Griffin Jacks. They're kind of grooming him to be a part of the rotation now. He's gone 5 scoreless innings over his last 2 outings, and they're going to stretch him out a little bit more tonight. I think he last pitched on Saturday, went 45 pitches by design. If they can turn him into a successful starter, they might not miss a step, and they're so good at handling their pitchers, and I'm not sure the same advantage exists, but I remember talking to Liam Hendricks about this a couple of years ago, that for a right-handed sinker baller, the extension that you get off that mound in Tampa is better than any other ballpark in the league. It's not something that you could see necessarily. You wouldn't be able to measure it because all these things, slope and distance, are supposed to be standardized by Major League Baseball. So whether it's an optical illusion or not, right-handed pitchers have always felt like they get better extension off that mound. Griffin Jack's a right-handed pitcher. I have a lot of confidence that he's going to be able to transition into a starter's role pretty easily. So the long answer to your question is yes, Rays are sustainable. The AL is kind of rotten right now. I can't see a wild card coming out of the West. I can't see a wild card coming out of the Central.
Yeah.
So you could be in a situation here where Toronto gets it together again and they get healthy. The Yankees win the division, and maybe the Rays and Jays are the 2 teams fighting for wild cards in the AL.
There you go. Excellent answer. Love having you on. Yes. Thanks so much for the time, Matt, and best of luck tonight.
Bye, boys. See ya.
Thank you, sir.
The great Matt Vasgersian here on the program, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Up next, Lou Finocchiaro on the program. Good fight card, UFC. Best bets with analysis. Has Chimaev finally bitten off more than he can chew?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Really good card this weekend in the UFC, including a terrific main event. 328 is on tap, and Lou Finocchiaro joins the program now. Website is gamlou.com. The podcast drops every Friday called Bout Business. Love the name, and he's on the Progressive Guest Line. Hey, Uncle Lou, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me. Huge fight card, great weekend.
No doubt. So I teased the question before the break that I have to ask you. With Chimaev taking on Strickland in the main event, and Chimaev is a A huge favorite here at circa higher than $6. Shop around as always. My question to you is, and I read your write-up at VSiN.com, I kind of think I know the answer here, but do you think Chimaev is potentially bitten off more than he can chew here with Sean Strickland?
Well, no, I don't. He's the champ. He's got to face anyone that comes. These guys trained together, Mitch. And at that point in time, I guess they were cordial, but now they're anything but cordial. And with Chimaev, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get an absolute Russian vice grip, unrelenting forward pressure wrestler who devastates people in the first 2 rounds of his fights. And with Strickland, you get a poop-talking crazy maniac who's way more well-rounded than he has shown in his fights and in his game. And both guys relatively inactive. But I think there's angles to this fight. And in the write-up on digital, you can still find 2.5 with a slight fee to pay on that over. And the 3.5, there's a slight fee to pay on that under. I'm very strong on the over in this fight. I believe this fight goes to decision. And in that statement alone, it tells you that I believe in Strickland. I don't believe Chimaev is going to completely just steamroll Strickland.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Surprised by that.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting.
If I may go on.
Sure. Continue, please.
Yeah.
No one wants to fight this Chimaev.
Yes.
And Strickland is completely unafraid. He believes his grappling is such that he can compete with Chimaev in such a manner, not necessarily that he wants this fight on the ground, but that when it goes to the ground, and it will, because Chimaev early will take him down, Strickland will be able to return to his feet. If he's not, he's cooked. But he's strong, he's big, and in his 2 decision fights, Chimaev at 170 fought Gil Burns, who's really a 155er. That fight went to decision. Then a few years later, at 185, where this fight is, Chimaev decided he'd fight Usman. Well, Usman's a 170 fighter. He took the fight on short notice, traveled across the world to Australia to take the fight, and went to decision with Chimaev. Once Chimaev realizes that Strickland can get back up 2 or 3 times in the first round, he's going to know he's in a fight. He's going to know he's in a 5-round fight. And from that time on, I think Strickland gains tremendous momentum. I do like Strickland in the fight, and I am going to bet him.
Excellent. Okay. Great breakdown and a good recall with the Burns fight as well. It's rare that you're on a favorite. Why do you like Tyra minus 160?
Well, this is going to be a great fight, but Van won the flyweight title against Pantoja on a little bit of on an injury and a fluke, but he's the champ. And the kid is young, fast as lightning, extremely skilled and powerful on the feet, but he's not complete. Tyra from Japan, he is more complete, and he gives away less standing up than Van does against Tyra when they go to the ground, if they go to the ground. The key to this fight will be going to the ground. I firmly believe Tyra will get Van to the ground, and he'll submit him there. Now, the UFC has never had a Japanese champion, had some vie, and with their manifest destiny trying to export their brand everywhere, they long for, they yearn for a Japanese champion. In a close fight, which this could be, I have to lean Tyra here for those nebulous reasons I just pointed out.
They yearn. Do you ever yearn?
Yes.
I've yearned many times.
I do, but I try not to admit it.
Okay. What's your breakdown of King Green, who's a $3 favorite against Jeremy Stevens?
Here's a fight that most people might be stunned never happened before. These two guys got 15, 20 years of UFC experience in them. Bobby Green, 39, freaky athletic for his age, can still move, evade punches. He's got a flamboyant style and still has some power. On the other side of the cage, Jeremy Stevens, who got cut from the UFC, spent the last 3 to 5 years working his way back through circus organizations. But the guy is tough, willing, forward pressing, and all about power. If Stevens can catch King Green, he could put him out. I just think there's too much athleticism difference here. The speed kills is what I think we can apply to King Green. And I think Green has advantage in this fight because of his athleticism and speed. Stevens now 40.
All right. What's a parlay you want to put together?
Parlay I want to put together, I'm going to use the points handicap in Kopylov and Tulio, a Russian against a Brazilian. Those are great fights because they hate each other, and each style wants to beat the other. Kopylov gets a little bit overlooked. I think this is a close fight, but when you use Kopylov plus 3.5 points, I only have to pay $1.05. So I'll use that in a parlay piece with a Russian fighter that trains with Chimaev earlier on the fight card, a gentleman named Susurkiov. Excuse my lack of pronunciation. This kid's a Badger. He's fighting a guy named Santos that's also a Badger, but this Russian lad is the real deal. He's minus 675. So we take that parlay, put it together. If we can get the Susurkiov side in, then we got to sweat Kopylov on the points. 1 unit returns 1.24 units on that parlay piece.
Very good. Do you have anything on this Jim Miller fight? Still going? Tipping my cap to this guy. Been doing it for a long, long time. Always seemingly with a puncher's chance, no matter who he takes on. He's a plus 250 dog against Jared Gordon.
Yeah, finally Jared Gordon gets to be the younger fighter by 6 years in this fight. He's faster, he's more well-rounded, and I don't think Jim has anything for him. Gordon is surely a parlay piece.
Okay, and then did you get involved with the Volkov match against Cortez Acosta?
I want to, and I like Volkov. I like that side. I don't think Cortez Acosta's seen what Volkov can dish out. Volkov's very well-rounded, on the cusp of a title shot. A couple times he's beaten Gane. They don't want to put him against Gane again, but if he wins this fight, he's next in line for Pereira and Gane. I really like that fight.
Okay. And your best bet on the card would be the over, I presume, then, in the main event.
If it wasn't Tyra, it would be the over in the main event. Yes, that's correct. And those are both minus numbers. But I have a prop that's a crazy one. First fight of the night, Clayton Carpenter, a wrestler fighting this crazy maniac from Peru, Ochoa. Carpenter submission. I think it's very plausible, and I think it's very possible. It may not be likely, but Carpenter's going there to take this fight to the ground. Carpenter via submission, that would be a nice, easy plus 760.
Now that's strong.
Yeah.
Now we're cooking here.
Hey, you've hit them before. Excellent. We know you love hockey and playoff hockey and betting it. What or who is stopping a Carolina-Colorado Stanley Cup final?
I think only Montreal or Buffalo, who either one can play with Colorado, with Carolina. Carolina has shown the ability late in the playoffs to lose a little scoring, and they just play tight games. This year, they have no Florida, they have no Rangers, they have no excuses. But I still think the winner of Buffalo and Montreal can deal them a few fits. But I don't see anything in the West that's going to get in front of the freight train that is the Avs.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to get a disagreement here. Mm-hmm. You can follow Lou on X. He's at GamLou. The website is gamlou.com. And every Friday morning, the Bout Business podcast drops as well. Thanks, Lou. Great breakdown as always. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good luck to everybody.
You too.
Back at you. Lou Finocchiaro here on the Progressive Guest Line. I looked today at putting a parlay together of exact outcomes in the NBA and the NHL. One was Oklahoma City over the Knicks, parlayed with the Avalanche over the Hurricanes. Guess what it paid? I only looked at one book.
Okay, go ahead.
It was below 11-1.
Tough.
Can't do that.
No.
Not at that number.
Man.
Too late in the game. But I agree with him. I think the path is there for both those teams on the ice.
I would say, hey, I agree with them, but I would say now if Buffalo gets the power play going like they did last night, I know Montreal outplayed them in the third period, but remember, they were 1 for 45 on the power play since April 1st. If that shows up, watch out, because I'm a fan of Lyon. This kid's been great.
I think that would be the biggest fly in the ointment. It would be the winner of the Buffalo-Montreal series facing Carolina in the next round. This is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Okay, so let me pay off the 30-minute delayed tease here. The team I was talking about earlier this hour, for those of you still hanging on, and I know plenty of you are, smaller home favorites in Game 2's NBA playoffs. 7 points or fewer, we're talking Pauly. 19-5 straight up, 17-7 ATS last 24 situations. That team tonight would be the Detroit Pistons. And keep in mind, again, on top of that, Cleveland on the year, this is regular season through Game 1 of this series, 15-34 against the spread against teams that have a winning record. Yuck.
I think they're the better team, and it's put up or shut up time. It's a big game tonight.
Down to 3 here at Circa.
Yep, I agree with it. I give them a pass in Game 1. A lot went wrong. They were sloppy. They were careless, ridiculous turnovers. The three-point disparity. I don't think Detroit's going to do that again. The free throw disparity. All that, down 11 in the fourth quarter, come back to tie it. And Harden was bad. Again, 29 times in his career. In a playoff game, he's had more turnovers than made field goals. That's staggering and unacceptable, and the 5th most in NBA history. But there's a great movie called Margin Call, and it's with Jeremy Irons, Kevin Spacey, Demi Moore, and there's that scene where they're in the boardroom. It's incredible, where they're freaking, this is it. This is it. We got to sell it all. If they lose this series, there's going to be enormous changes because they went all in. Like Mitchell said, we made the moves, we've done the talk, we have to walk the walk. You traded a 26-year-old point guard for a 36-year-old, and you got beat as a 1 seed last year in 5 games in the second round. Your coach is on the hot seat. You just fired Bickerstaff. Now, what's interesting is Bickerstaff says, we have the edge, because I know a lot about this team. I used to coach them.
Sure he did.
So it was unacceptable that Bickerstaff couldn't get him over the hump. Now you go to Atkinson, and they were the 1 seed, so good, great story, and they go out in 5 games and were embarrassed by the Pacers. And now Donovan Mitchell, who's never made it to the conference final, and all this love and the future markets had him as the team to beat in the East for much of the year. Then it became second when Boston was so good. You got to get it done, and you got to win this series.
They might win this series, but I disagree. They're not a better team than Detroit.
I think they are. Now, it hasn't looked like
you're banking on the guy that you just said has never been out of the second round, along with one of the biggest flops in our lifetime in James Harden.
Okay.
That's what you're banking on.
Well, I'm banking on a team also that was down 3-1 and should have lost to Orlando.
That's fine. It's all about matchups, Paul.
Yeah.
Completely about matchups. You watch what's going to happen. Detroit's going to make the Eastern Conference Finals, and they're going to give New York everything they want. And we're going to be talking about how this happened. They almost lost to the Magic. It's because every game and every series is different. It's all about matchups.
And the Cavs match up well against Detroit. Now, do they get to the free throw line? And this is part of the game where you have to complain, and a lot of times it works. So
it's one of the bad things about the NBA.
Sure. He's been held under 25 points 6 games in a row, and he's shooting 30% from 3, and he's not getting to the line. And we saw the free throw disparity in Game 1. So he didn't really work and go over the top after Game 1. He said, I don't flop. That's why I don't get the calls. But we'll see what happens now here in Game 2. And also what happens from 3, because you have to, they don't shoot the 3 well. They don't take a lot. They're last in the playoffs from made threes. You got to get a guy on Duncan Robinson, though, and he was lethal in Game 1. But guys like Strus and Harden and Tyson and Schroeder had a couple good moments. They have to be big, not only tonight but in this series. But the thing that would have to scare you is they're 0-4 on the road, and that performance against Toronto, who were down 2 starters, and you still had to go 7 games. But I have the bigs down low. I have the talent. I'm not the biggest Mobley fan. It's a lot of hype. He has to deliver as well. I mean, there was talk, hey, put him in a trade for Giannis. He's that good. It's okay. But you have this talent and you have the bigs, and you've got to win this series if you're Cleveland, or else they're going to blow it up.
Well, what does that mean? And by the way, it's 14-3 under last 17 between these two teams.
Yeah.
What does that mean, blow it up?
I would think they would make big changes.
And just say we're going to...
Number one, it starts with Atkinson.
Because they're not going to trade Donovan Mitchell, right?
I think a lot of stuff's on the table. Because certainly he wanted this. That's the other thing. He wanted them to bring in Harden. And, boy, there's got to be buyer's remorse, too. Because Garland was phenomenal once he became healthy with L.A. to close the season. He showed he was a good player.
Yeah.
I don't know, he was dealing with a lot of injuries.
Keep in mind, they wanted James Harden.
Yeah. A lot of pressure on him here.
That's why some of these moves in the NBA, I could live till I'm 300 years old. I will always be amazed. It happens on a yearly basis. You needed James Harden, that guy. Okay, Lakers, Thunder.
Yeah, I was going to give you some props, though, too. I don't mind Thompson props tonight for Detroit as well.
Well, like Tyson, like you said.
And Tyson
could be a scorer for him tonight.
With Merrill hurt, yes. They're looking at maybe Tyson can do something as well. But that was... When Barkley is speechless, you know you've accomplished something. Last night on the postgame, when Underdog, the research guy, told him that stat on Harden, he couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
You know, I'll save Lakers Thunder for the top of the hour. You have a lot of baseball numbers to this point. And by the way, the Pirates are leading the Diamondbacks right now 4-2 as they play in the bottom of the eighth.
There's a lot of good stuff going on. Number one team ROI is Tampa. Again,
that makes sense.
Incredible numbers, and they're underdogs tonight, and we'll see if they can keep this incredible streak going. 12-1 last 13 with a 1.23 ERA, and the third team in the last 45 years to allow 17 runs or fewer in a 13-game stretch.
Crazy.
They're on a 12-1 under run, and 13 in a row they've allowed 3 earned runs or fewer. They're number one in ROI, up over 10 units. St. Louis is number 2. Again, always respect their organization, and they seem they're always in the mix, up 950. Cubbies number 3, won again, make it 850 on the season, up over 8 units, 15 straight wins at home. Atlanta number 4, Padres number 5. Worst team ROI, the Mets, down almost 12 units, and they're down 6-2 in the ninth.
Add to it today. You're exactly right. They were about $1.40.
Yeah.
As how about this? You're going to love this, Pauly. Jake McCarthy just hit a grand slam. That's another prop that you can bet on every single day.
Yeah.
So he hit a grand slam to put the Rockies up by a score of 6-2, as you said. So McCarthy today to hit a home run was 12-1. He also homered yesterday. He was 15-1. So this dude is homered in back-to-back days at a 15-1 clip and a 12-1 price today. Not bad.
Good catch. Even though they've won 8 of 9, the Phillies are the second worst team ROI, down 8 units and change. Then Toronto, 830, and then the Giants, 8 units, who cannot hit. Best pitchers, ROI, Martin. They're 6-1 when he goes for the White Sox. He was phenomenal last start. He's up 660.
Oh, he has been sneaky awesome this year.
With the K's as well. Yep, Martinez up 530. Griffin, 460. Matz, 430. Soriano, 453. Bybee, down 5 units and change. McLean, 5 units. And Hauser with the Giants, down 5 units. Waka and Martinez are 6-1 to the under. McCullers, 7-0 to the over. Ober and Perez, 7-1 to the over. Bassett and Singer, 6-1 to the over with pitcher props. There's your update so far with MLB with a couple good things.
And earlier today, by the way, the Nationals played yet another over as well. So that final was 7-5. The total was 9. They 15-2 yesterday, 11-3 the day before that. The games went under against Milwaukee, but that completely flipped now against Minnesota. Very good young offense and terrible pitching. Pretty good recipe to go over when numbers are 9 or a little bit below in Major League Baseball. And I wanted to get that Martin's numbers in his last game. He had 10 Ks, by the way.
Yes.
For the White Sox.
They beat Soriano, right? Was that the game?
Yeah.
Right. So even though Soriano's lost a couple in a row here, he still had a great year, and at least when he's on the mound, too, as well. So, all right, it's about time. We're talking to guys for 8 years here, 40, 50, and 60 years old. If you're dealing with ED, there's a trusted local solution right here in Las Vegas. Dr. Mike Kaplan offers focused shockwave therapy to help restore your natural performance. No pills, no injections, no downtime. Quick, painless, and it works. If you've been putting it off, now's the time. Call Dr. Mike Kaplan now, 702-885-7192. Call today, 702-885-7192.
Martin had 10 Ks, for the White Sox in that game when they beat Soriano. I would say this. That ticket that I have, or I have multiple tickets on Soriano to win the Cy Young, they're dead. I'm ready. I don't care.
Oh, that's it? You're giving up?
Well, because here's the thing. So in the first, 7 to 8 weeks of the Major League Baseball season, we have seen the kid ceiling, and that's what I was betting on after start number 2 this year. And he did it for basically about 4.5 starts to begin the year. We have unfortunately now seen pretty much what the floor looks like in his last 2 starts as well. And it's not pretty. And I was betting on the ceiling outweighing and hoping that the floor was actually raised this year from Jose Soriano. And unfortunately, that's still there. The walks and letting guys on base and eventually allowing big hits or home runs, it's going to pop and the dam's going to break. We will get into other games on the betting board for tonight. This is 26-15-1 ATS in the playoffs so far. 2 more examples of it tonight. I'll explain next here on VSiN.